Hello, everyone. Welcome to the second episode of Lab Talks with Abdos, the ultimate destination of insightful conversations and engaging discussions. Whether you are a life science professional, a curious listener, or someone who is passionate about the biomedical or life science future, this podcast is actually the backstage pass to the stories that unfolds. So today's postcard will be taking our listeners on a journey through the dynamic landscape of the in vitro diagnostic centers in India and the healthcare in the Indian market. So I'm your host Gaurav Sharda, Assistant Product and Marketing Manager from Abdos Life Sciences. And in our second episodes, we'll be taking on an insightful journey through the innovative realm of healthcare and diagnostics in India. Because health matters, we'll be unveiling the India's in vitro diagnostics, where we deep dive into the heart of India's rapidly evolving medical landscape. So, from bustling metropolitan cities to serene rural landscape, India's healthcare system is a fascinating blend of traditional wisdom and cutting edge technology. And in this episode, we'll be uncovering those stories that shed light on the challenges, the triumphs, and the groundbreaking advancement that shape the way the healthcare is delivered and diagnostics are conducted. So, joining us, we have today Dr. Abhik Banerjee. He's the Zonal Technical Chief from Apollo Diagnostic Kolkata, MBBS and MD in Pathology, and MBA in Healthcare Management with more than 10 years of experience as a consultant pathologist. And his current role, he's been responsible for the technical operation of approximately 30 laboratories across the East India territory. He's also an internal examiner for DMLT curriculum, which has been approved by State Medical Faculty of West Bengal. And he's been also awarded with the DX Leadership Award 2019 in the Achievers category by the Indian Express Group and Express Healthcare in DX Summit, which was held on 22nd and 23rd February 2009. So, warm welcome to Dr. Abhi. Thank you for joining us on the panel.
Thank you, Mr. Gaurav, for the kind introduction. And
Thank
really,
you.
it's a great platform. I'm really happy to be here and share the knowledge with all of you.
Yeah, so just to highlight that we Dr. Abhik will be speaking more on the topics which will be ranging on the overview of the in vitro diagnostic industry in the life science market and how we can bridge the urban and rural healthcare, which is divided to the stride that made in genomics and personalized medicine. As you know that at Abdos Life Sciences, we believe in the power of conversation to inspire and inform all our end users. So we can start with the curiosity and Dr. Big, welcome to the show. We'll be starting with the unveiling the India's healthcare and diagnostics center and starting with your vision on the in vitro diagnostic and healthcare sector, which is actually growing after the pandemic era.
Thanks for the questions, Gaurav. Uh, Actually, India's diagnostic healthcare market is a mix of large diagnostic chains, standalone laboratories, hospital-based laboratories with variable infrastructure, capacities, and workload. Moreover, there is an asymmetry in, as Gaurav said, in distribution of laboratories between rural and urban areas in India.
Yeah.
Most of the big, good quality, better equipped, I can say, it may be a private or public laboratories. They are situated in urban areas, whereas rural people are mostly dependent either on small public facilities, which are unregulated, maybe small standalone private laboratories. However, the advantages which lie in the Indian diagnostic sector, it's highly competent manpower and its service which is quite affordable in we can say in comparison to European or American markets, right? However, the disadvantage lies in the unorganized, unregulated, fragmented players which largely dominate the Indian market, unfortunately. Country's healthcare and diagnostic market, it has really lots of potential to reach at its best, but provided quality control can be ensured at every level, be it small standalone entities or corporate giants.
Okay. So have you, I think, have you seen an increase in the number of diagnostics? tests after the pandemic area, what I believe is there is more and more of number of personalized medicines and healthcare tests which has been increased after the pandemic era.
Right. Definitely. Actually, COVID-19 pandemic has actually made the laboratories popular and familiar with the common mass. We were maybe the laboratoricians or the laboratory staffs, they are working very silently. Nobody was aware about the dynamism or about the way the healthcare workers in these settings were working. And actually we had to work uninterruptedly, we had uninterruptedly serve people for 24 into 7 during the COVID-19 pandemic. So it is not only COVID-19 testing, but we have seen that many other associated tests like ferritin, D-dimer, C-reactive protein, everything, these all tests were prescribed a huge, because many the physicians had to rule out the other types of fevers also from COVID-19, and there were also these kinds of tests like ferritin, D-dimer. They are also the prognostic parameters. So obviously the diagnostic sector saw a boom actually during COVID-19 and definitely post COVID-19. And people now are more, I mean, they are aware, they are more conscious about their health, which has COVID-19 taught us. Because now you will see that there have been many tremendous increase in the demand for preventive healthcare packages, right? Previously, maybe those healthcare packages were asked by the during the only the companies or corporates when they were for pre-employment health checkup or like that. But some of the maybe some for senior citizen or like that. But now even the young healthy population people, they are also coming to the lab directly and they are asking for tests for packages, their panels. So definitely there have been massive improvement and massive requirement demand for this. Market demand is huge now for laboratory tests.
And I think with this demand, I think the budgetary allocation from the government of India has also increased for in the healthcare segment, the healthcare and diagnostic segment.
Yeah, right. This is very pertinent actually. The Indian healthcare sector, diagnostic, you can say, or in the therapeutic part, management, treatment part also, it caters to a huge population. Almost, if we can see, there are now 142 crores of population in India.
Yeah.
So it's really a challenge for the government, if you say, in view of the annual expenses involved here in this diagnostic sector or healthcare sector. The current, if you can see the current public health expenditure, it is still remained around 2% of the entire GDP, even in 2020 to 2023.
Yeah.
Whereas the total healthcare spending, if you find total out of pocket and public, both public and out of pocket, then it currently stands at around 3.6% of the GDP. So this expenditure is quite low, still quite low, I will say, in comparison to countries like China, USA, Germany, Japan, and is definitely grossly inadequate in view of the, rapidly increasing need, as I explained earlier, and demand for healthcare services. So we have to, buckle our shoes. However, there have been some improvement, like recent allotment of government fund in some projects like TB eradication, public-private partnership model. These are actually raising hope amidst concerns. So government is definitely trying, but the huge population, this is definitely a challenge for the government also.
Yes, and as I know that in countries like US and European countries, it's the government who is actually taking care of the people or the population in terms of the healthcare segment, and actually they are providing high costly medications as well and advanced medications or treatments to their populations because everyone is insured with the medical policies. So that is one of the
Yes.
major gap which we need to bridge in the Indian country in our country.
Yes, very true.
Yes,
That is all of us can hope for a better budgetary
yes,
allocation in healthcare in coming days,
exactly.
and so for a better tomorrow. That's definitely.
And I think with such advancement which we are now seeing after the pandemic area specifically, there is also an increase in the medical tourism, like in countries from Middle East and South Africa or African countries. People are more and more coming into the Indian hospitals and healthcare centers for the diagnostics and their treatments.
Very true. Actually, it's a very good question you raised or point you raised. As we all are aware that since last few years, Indian
Yes.
healthcare and diagnostic sector has seen a boom with increasing medical tourism. The reason behind it that a robust improvement in the infrastructure. and better availability of cutting edge technologies which are comparable with global standards, European or American market. Even India is going really, it is a very good improvement we have seen in recent days. Even internally, if you see, as I told, the growth was driven by the increase in prevalence of lifestyle disorders. Because now, if you see, in the previously we were Indian and these tropical countries were dealing with infectious disorder, but with the globalization, now actually junk foods and every the lifestyle overall, now there are diseases which are predominant now: cardiovascular disease, cerebrovascular accidents, strokes, diabetes mellitus. These are the things which are coming up. So at this prevalence of lifestyle disorders, chronic diseases, and rising income level, at the same time aging population, growing health awareness, as I told, resultant which ultimately results in high focus on early diagnosis of disease. And
Yes.
so, if you can see that even the Consumer Protection Act is now very highly actually they are active, and we are seeing that customers are very actual. They are customer centric. They are people focused. The customers and the clients, they are also very much concerned. So obviously, the demand is increasing for preventive healthcare, for diagnostics, and so medical tourism obviously it is attracting because the cost is so affordable. But at the same time, the quality and accreditation, those are also coming up very fast in medical diagnostic sectors in India. So we are giving a good quality, but with a nominal cost. That is the importance of actually why we are getting more patients from outside the South Asian countries or like that.
And like what challenges you think that we are right now facing, especially in the rural areas, and what solutions can we actually provide in order to pave the way in the medical sector and to have a better diagnosis of those rural population?
Hmm. As I told, reaching the mass is a challenge for the Indian healthcare and diagnostic sector because of country's huge population. If we consider rural areas and remote places which are relatively far from, towns or metro cities, there are lots of scope for improvement in that periphery. Practically, it is not possible for government alone to have infrastructure everywhere, right? So, on the other hand, the organized private players, they are mainly concentrated mostly in urban areas, as you told before beginning of this session.
Yes.
Hence, to ensure availability of adequate and timely healthcare service, what I feel that PPP model has a great role to play in India.
Okay.
PPP in appropriately selected segments, may actually be the role model in India to materialize the dream for health for all, which actually WHO proposes. Because see, maybe the private organizers, private players, they are concentrated the better laboratories, better equipped laboratories, they are in the metro cities. But what about the tier 2, tier 3 cities, where the remote areas, where maybe the public sector dominates, but they do not, they have huge patient load, but they do not have the capability or infrastructure in that sense. So here the thing is, if there is a, public-private partnership, here then the private players also who are concentrated in the metro cities, they will also penetrate in those smaller cities, rural areas, and they can get the patient from the government sector, public sector, and they can invest more in robust infrastructure development. So we have to reach the maximum people or the entire society, right? It is not, we cannot only serve to the people who are residing in the cities or the metro cities like that. So that way it is important, and government has a huge role to play here, that I would say, like setting up more laboratories and hospitals in remote areas. We can introduce digital pathology, right? The artificial intelligence, actually, as you have seen nowadays, we are listening many things about those. Actually, these are required. Telemedicine, and those things are required, because maybe in a peripheral rural area, smaller cities or village, there is no such trained manpower, no technician trained, no pathologists are not available. But here, if we can set a laboratory there, we can have some point of care instrument where we can serve the people, and the remote monitoring, and in case of any difficult cases, those technicians can consult with the senior pathologist who is sitting at the metro city. So this kind of digital networking, improving the digital network, it is actually governments should be the high priority, and actually we are doing these things actually. So mobile healthcare application, I will say, sometimes you can see the laboratories have, they are sending mobile vans for blood testing and serum, some collection of samples, and they can come up with the main in the main city lab. so that even we can send give better quality reports to the persons who are residing at those villages areas and those things. At the same time, as I always tell, that we have to, reduce the cost of automation, because whenever the instruments are setting and those things, even so that the smaller laboratories who are not having so much strength or muscle power, they can also buy the basic level of automation, some sort of regulation on the analyzer reagent cost, so that they can also purchase. Because if I cannot give service for a simple T3T4 TSH thyroid testing, if the patient has to travel to a city, then it is very unfortunate, right?
Exactly.
But then the reagent cost should be a little bit lower, so that those kind of smaller laboratories can also purchase them. They can also invest in little bit of automation, so that we can give better quality report. So you know that nowadays government has come up with the Made in India initiative, right? Where we, because we do not previously we have to import the instruments or the costly reagents from outside. Now many are being prepared. Even during COVID time, we have seen the viral transport media, VTM tubes and everything. They are kits, reagent kits. They are now being prepared in India. So this is
Exactly.
required, because unless this is not we are having, then the cost will not reduce, and everybody will not get the benefit of this improvement in infrastructure and capabilities.
Yes, and even I think we were also a part of the vision that we started with the life science segment in 2010, that all the consumables or the diagnostic consumables we can actually manufacture at our end in Indian territory, so that we can actually cater to the population of India in the rural or urban areas. So that was even the mindset of, or the vision of Aptos as a company to start with the laboratory consumable range.
True. Very true.
Second part was, I think, as I also look on the future outlook, that in the innovation part we might have to invest a lot on having a novel medicines. What I see is India's population and the medication is majorly based on the generic medicines, not the novel ways.
Right.
So you can have
Right.
more and more innovation, more and more research based allocation or budgetary allocations. We can actually have more novel medications at our end, like what we are doing with the in the vaccine manufacturers, like Serum
Yes.
Institute
Yes.
and
Yes.
Panacea. So
Yes.
more and more novel medication also can also lead us as a uh, pharmaceutical giant in the healthcare sector. And
True.
if you talk more about that, if you have any future outlook, what you see in the healthcare or diagnostic centers, or any new technologies in the R&D which you were actually doing right now, which was not
Yeah.
earlier after before pandemic, you can
Yeah.
just shed some light on it.
Yeah, maybe two, three things I will tell. The laboratory medicine, where my segment actually has seen a paradigm shift from manual processing and handling of reagents and patient
Okay.
samples to a so-called software-driven robotic lab, right? Equipped
Okay.
with fully automated analyzers requiring minimal human intervention. The shift is basically driven by need for accurate, error-free, faster report, as well as to improve the turnaround time in order
Yes.
to get precise therapy at the right time. Gone are the days of traditional trial and error method of care, which is no longer acceptable for obvious reasons, right? Now it is an era of targeted therapy, precise therapy, and we are talking about more and more of the personalized medicine, right? So the Indian scenario is also not so different. Today, the expectation from a modern medical laboratory is not only limited to accuracy and reliability of test results, but a faster turnaround time,
Yes.
state-of-the-art technology with global quality standard. At the same time, affordable cost, as I said, reports carrying simple and useful information, preferably with the direction to therapy, so that we can give the clinicians more hint about the diagnosis and possible therapy, personalized medicine. To meet such ever increasing demands, modern medical laboratories in India we have to adopt more automation, robotics, artificial intelligence. Those are very important thing. And at the same time, man behind the machine is important. So I would also insist on the regular periodic training of the technical staffs, laboratory technicians, as well as the pathologists, microbiologists, biochemists, so that it will definitely then prove a game changer, and we will be able to significantly reduce errors in the laboratory. At the same time, we will be able to give quality reports to our physicians and customers. And this another thing I would like to highlight that uh, once we bring quality at your doorstep, then we understand the benefit of it. Hence, raising awareness of quality, sensitizing the unorganized, fragmented healthcare facilities and diagnostic labs to follow basic quality norms. And
Yes.
regulation, standardization should be the foremost agenda of the government and health department. Accreditation can play a major role here, like NABL accreditation, CAP accreditation, etc. These accreditation bodies and government authorized agencies should come forward to arrange for regular CMEs, symposiums, so that the owners of the private healthcare facilities, laboratories, they understand the competitive advantage that accreditation confers, and also the potential cost savings that labs can achieve through continuous quality improvement. Initially, we think that maintaining quality, accreditation, and those things maybe have a cost impact. But as you improve your quality, you will get lesser breakdowns, less wastage of reagents, and obviously then you understand that quality comes with a price, but at the same time the return of investment is much better. Once these kind of basic quality practice are ensured, implemented in all settings, in metro cities, starting the smaller cities, villages, etc., then the next level of quality standards for further improvement we can think. So basic quality and those things is very much required, and that is the bottom line actually, I think, for overall improvement of the healthcare and diagnostic industry in India.
Yes, I think rightly said. Whatever suggestions you have indicated and pointed out, and I even we have observed such advancement in the healthcare industry. If we take into account on the which we were doing earlier, the benefit it gave is it reduces the cost of testing. So if we compare that when it was earlier introduced during the pandemic, our RT-PCR test was costing around 3 to 5,000 per test, and then it's been reduced to 500 Indian rupees. So
Absolutely.
that is the advantage of the advancements or the automation machines, that you can lower the prices of the health checkups and also having a faster turnaround time.
Absolutely. Right.
Exactly. So I think thank you so much, Dr. Abhik, for your valuable time and providing such innovative and meaningful insight in the healthcare industry. What we take into account as the Indian healthcare sector has been undergoing a remarkable transformation in the recent years, and there are certain integration of the new advancements such as AI, quality management, and data analytics that has revolutionized the disease detection and the treatment. So thank you so much, Dr. Ravi, for being a part of this podcast session, and we thank our listeners as well for tuning in. So make sure to subscribe the Abdos social media platforms like LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram channels, and stay connected as we unravel the layers of the life science research industry. Because we at Abdos always value the voice of our researchers and scientists like you, and we are here to create a space for dialogue. So stay tuned for inspiring such narratives that showcase the power of collaboration in the life science industry. And thank you so much, Dr. Abhik. Like people like you have always keep us in good check. And I hope that you can pave the in the healthcare industry to new achievements and heights. Thank you. Thank you so much,
Thank
Dr.
you very
Abhik.
much. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you.